Okay, welcome everyone. Well, I'm pretty excited to introduce you to the latest in tire machine technology. This is a tool that we've needed locally here in the USA from our dealers for quite some time. A lot of people have been asking about it, and there's a lot of hard work involved, but it's finally here. So let's just take a closer look at what CG Slotcars has brought to our bench. And if you didn't know, the advantage of a machine like this is the ability to sand and true entire wheel sets without breaking them down. We're going to show you that here in just a second, but just in case you didn't know, for Carrera, Skeletric, Pioneer, brands like that, other brands that have axle assemblies like this, that is where this machine comes in handy. Now, when you order the machine, it comes with two belts. One of them, you just want to take and put to the side. You're going to have to remove this screw right here with a Phillips screwdriver. You can remove this, you can flex the motor up, and then you can slip the belt underneath here to the side to change it when it comes time to change, and to remove the spare belt. Also, you'll have a bag that'll have your sanding block here that has 200 and 400 grit already installed on the plate. You're going to get a pulley with 1.5 millimeter wrench for the set screw in the pulley, and then finally your forks that go in the front of the machine to adjust the width. So we'll install these and talk about them next. Okay, we're going to talk about the axle mount and the forks. As you can see, these steel forks and these slots are adjustable, so you can adjust the width of the forks depending on the axle, and that comes in pretty handy, especially with some of the narrow axles out there. You can also see right here there is a Phillips head screw. You can loosen this and it will allow you to level that assembly to make sure that both tires or both wheels, depending on what you're sanding, touch the sanding block at the same time. Now, some people have always asked for that because they'd say, well, one sands before the other. For me, it's never been an issue because I just sand one at a time, one side at a time, always have, and I always will. But for some people, that was a big deal. So now you have this adjustment here where you can fine-tune that from axle to axle, which I think is a great option. Now, to install the forks, depending on there, is you can start them like that, and then I would highly suggest using a needle nose pliers because the fit is very tight, and to push it all the way in and make sure it's fully seated. So we'll get the other one installed, and we just set the width to the axle that we're using. If you ordered your machine from Slotcar Corner, inside the box you'll notice a 7/64 Allen wrench. It's not that common of a size, but you're going to need it here especially. You're going to want to back this off just about a quarter turn so that when you remove this screw for leveling the axle mount, it's just a little bit easier to flex up and down. You'll also need it if you want to remove these two screws back here for the entire motor assembly. So it's just handy to have. So I've installed the wheel set in here, Carrera for example, and we've loosened this screw here, our adjustment screw, and I bring the arm down like this, and yep, that feels pretty good. I think we're looking good. You just have to adjust it and check it, and now we can tighten this up, and once we do that, we can turn on the power and we can check it and just adjust accordingly. And when it comes to power, you're going to need a DC adjustable voltage power supply to control the speed of the motor. That's going to be very critical for a lot of tires out there, so you're going to want that. Now you can go with a low-cost unit like this from Amazon. They're like $15 to $18, and I'll show you a screenshot here. A lot of folks out there, advanced enthusiasts, will tell you that these will work just fine. You can get a nicer bench supply if you want to, but if you're on that tight budget, well, this will do the trick. And hookup is really simple. Nice quality banana plugs right here. Just get them installed, powered up. I think I'm going to start at 6 volts just for this test, but we'll show you what adjustable voltage can do later on. Alright, well, I think I've got it pretty even. I've got it set at 6 volts, going back and forth. You said you just have to adjust this, but I think I got it pretty close for those that that care about doing both at the same time, it is possible. Or you could just do it one at a time. Just have to be careful. You have these little fingers here that are holding the sanding plate, so if you decide to bring this down and do one at a time, you don't want to put any pressure here. You'll raise up on it. You want to keep your finger here with just some pressure if you're going to do one at a time. But operation, well, really is that simple. Of course, you know, you can control the pressure back here with your knob and then increase the voltage or bring it down nice low and slow. The motor seems to have enough torque for that, to go slow, keep the temp down. As we know, with some of the natural rubber, that's really important. Seems like it's going to do the job just fine. When it comes to Sidewinder or wheels that are smaller than the pulley, well, you have to do them one at a time, just like we've always done, especially with Sidewinders like this Skeletric Trans Am axle. Obviously, you can't bring the plate all the way across. You'll hit the spur gear. We don't want to do that. The only problem is with the sandpaper, the pre-made paper that's on the plate, it doesn't go far enough, so I've had to add my own. So I added a little strip right here, and that's exactly what we had to do, is bring it all the way to the edge right here so we could get to the wheel sets on these Trans Am cars here on the gear side. But again, with the wheels, I've always just done one at a time, and will continue to do so. Some have mentioned having an offset so that you could maximize the sandpaper, so when you've worn through, you know, one part of it, that you could, you know, flip the block around and, you know, use some more of the paper and you have less waste. Well, it just depends on the diameter of what you're dealing with when it comes to how much offset you have. For example, I've taken the tires off here obviously with these Carrera wheels, which are a little bit taller, but as you can see, this is the sand line here, or as I've indicated on this side here in red, is the sand line here, and then there's one here. So I sanded here, I took the block out, brought it around, and inside here, as you can see, it's right above, right there. So there is an offset. With the tires, there's almost no offset. However, you could change that. Removing the forks, you could, if you wanted to, sand those forks down very carefully using precision, and you can create more or less offset. Just depends on what you want. But you know, just the way it comes, it just depends on the diameter, because of the pivot point back here on the machine, how much offset you're going to have. So it's there, and at least in this case, you can create more if you wanted to. So you can do aluminum wheels and other wheel sets. Sometimes you're going to have to provide your own bushings. For example, this axle came out of a inline Group C slotted car, and the conical bushings, the self-aligning bushings, stay inside the pod, so you need to provide your own. So I just ordered some simple racing bushings from Slotcar Corner and keep them nearby. But does the trick. Speaking of low and slow, just for an example, I've got this going pretty slow, and it's still cutting into the Skeletric stock tires. I'm just using that as an example, but it seems to have plenty of, the motor anyway, has plenty of torque to go low. Let me get this down. Yeah, 1.8 volts, and it's still getting the job done. So that's not bad. I think this motor will do the trick. Well, at the end of the day, I have to give it a thumbs up. It does what it's supposed to do out of the box for what I think is a fair price. MSRP $189.99, and when I look at all the wheel sets, stock wheel sets I've saved over the years, yeah, that's well worth the price of admission. And that's just in stock form. There are a couple of upgrades planned for the future. Over here on this side, you'll notice that there's some mount holes. We're going to have a dial indicator, possibly a bump stop system. Over here, the reciprocator to automate the plate movement here. I know a lot of you looking forward to that. Also coming really soon are 3mm and 1/8 pulleys. Now that's exciting news for Rev-A-Slot and those using 1/8 axles. Those pulleys have been missing, well, as long as the machine itself. So really excited to hear that. CG Slotcars, well, reputation precedes them. Just outstanding customer service, always standing behind their products. Been in the hobby for a long time, and just really glad that they're the ones behind this machine. So like I said, have to give it a thumbs up. It does what it's supposed to do. It saves these wheel sets, gets them round and true, and that's all we can really ask for. But anyway, look forward to your feedback online as always. We'll see you soon.